Hello and welcome to another Overlord lore video, and today we are going to continue our look at the war between Ainz Ooal Gown and the 8 great kings, and most importantly, who would win, Ainz or the kings. But before we are going to do so, let me thank my Patreons for supporting this channel, as well as all users of the YouTube thanks function who made one-time donations. Also, please check out the other part of my video and my video about the 8 great kings' power and accomplishments. It really helps contextualizing what I am saying here. And to quickly recap what happened in the first part of the hypothetical war. The kings got resurrected, assaulted Irantel, killed Mare, lost one player themselves, occupied the city, as well as Arventar and any other capital of the Sorcerer Kingdom. All the while, Ainz arrived in Nazarick, where after Mare's resurrection, the entire guild stood united in hate. After the end of the first day, there's no such thing as unity within the ranks of the 8 kings. The 8, already lusting after the captured world item, avarice and generosity, which they had taken from Mare, and unsure what exactly they have attacked, were surprised by on one hand how comparably easy it had been to crush such a great guild. But they were also unsure if they had even crushed it, because no one seemingly met another player, until one of them remembered that they heard that their guildmaster was an elder lich, or something like that, by the name of Momo. Manga? Maybe he was alone in this world and just used the guild name in order to get some respect and a reputation of being overwhelmingly powerful, while in reality he was the only player there. Maybe the others died, and all they now have left to do is track down the undead player and kill him, like they did with the Theocracy's player, Surshana. But still, he escaped. And what was the item that crushed Irantel? Could it be a world item? Is the Armored Guardian also a player? But then even worse, the 8 soon realized that the Sorcerer King had other powerful living minions with them. They had to be NPCs. But they found nothing else that could be a guild base. So maybe Irantel hasn't been built atop of the great tomb of Nazarick. And as the creeping realization manifested that this war was far from over, one of their minions, a powerful winged dragon breed, clad in heavy, futuristic steel armor, descended, knelt before his kings, and handed a fateful scroll to the players. Its ink, not even dry, told about a great counter-offensive launched by the Sorcerer King Ainz Ooal Gown in the Holy Kingdom. Even worse, the scroll failed to report accurate numbers, since the lower part of it had been burned. And now the kings noticed the stench of sulfur emerging from it and the shortness of the message itself. While the kings amassed every troop from the recently occupied capital cities in Irantel, they scrapped together all the pieces of intel they could have before departing, which ultimately would ease their minds. Apparently the Holy Kingdom was greatly decimated by a recent invasion of demons and demi-humans, so the undead king is surely hated there. The population, its knowledge, and most importantly, any hidden artifacts were presumed to be on their own side, and that they would be greeted as liberators before teleporting to the Holy Kingdom's capital. But the kings, believing they had found the last bastion of resistance, found themselves horrified that humans fought fanatically alongside innumerable undead forces and the very same demi-humans and demons that had flayed them, while neither fervent men, demons, nor death knights could stand up against the forces of the king's amassed army. These meat, bone and sulfur shields offered excellent cover for any of Ainz's high-level forces. They used the sea of troops like a sharpshooter fish would use his lake. Great spells, ranged melee strikes, and even bullets came from the sea of enemies that the great kings and their minions tried to drain, taking down many wyverns, dragons, and other flying reptiles, as well as high-level gargoyles, before the leaders began finally retreating in the face of the sheer, unstoppable army under the Great King's command. Soon a mass fly spell finally revealed the fleeing guildmaster, who was escorted by the same troops the kings had already chased out of their own capital. But this time, they used Dimension Lock and other spells to make an escape via teleportation impossible. Seemingly in panic, this Sorcerer King abandoned his forces, who immediately surrendered, and fled all the way back to an area near Irantel. But with their capital city already taken, the now dethroned Sorcerer King and his minions had seemingly no clear path and tried to lose their pursuers in the great forest of Top. But without any success. Cornered and with no way out, the army of the Eight followed Ainz into a ruin, only to find themselves in a considerable larger building, the Great Tomb itself. Upon realizing this, the kings halted their advance and took a moment to think about their intel. The realm of the Sorcerer King had been tiny in comparison to their own continent-spanning empire, so they might run low on resources. And they were clearly panicked after losing 2 times and 1 considerable army. Maybe their tomb is only lightly defended. Confident after their 2 victories, the Great Kings and their considerable army found themselves charging down the narrow and indistinguishable labyrinthian dungeons of the Sorcerer King's home. But again, while the corridors were narrow and looked all the same, the kings would know how to invade a guild base and drop back to the rear, sending waves of minions after the skeletons and liches that defended the dungeon. For the best way to clear traps is to activate them with your worst forces, summons and minor monsters. And what will happen to this army, and more importantly, to the 8 Great Kings themselves, we will find out in the next part. For today, this is it. Thank you very much for watching and for the great feedback, and special thanks to Dash Dash Dash, Bad Guy Yee, Ben C, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Feral Shivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, Chromius, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Michael R, Michael Y, Okill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantom, Personage, Primus 11, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Texas Deer, the Orc Warboss Rock Edsmashar, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, and Zonegon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on our next video.